My name is Kyle Webb, and I'm a photographer and graphic designer. First picked up a camera in junior high and haven't put it down since. I've used photography to augment my graphic design career. And recently, like about 2018, I switched my emphasis to photography and started doing more event, portrait, product photography as a profession. But on the artistic side, I have been shooting with vintage lenses for years, and I shoot vintage lenses that are adapted to my digital cameras. And it's been a fun hobby, but it's also been an amazing outlet for my artistic expression. When I look at new lenses, I see $800 to $1,000, and I also see perfection. But when I see a lens at a garage sale for $5, I see character. And I say, wonder what that lens would look like on my digital camera. And that brings me a lot of joy. The other thing I look for is light. Like if I'm going to be going somewhere, I decide whether I'm going to take my camera and one of my vintage lenses along with me, even if I'm not going on a shoot, by what the light looks like, because without light, there is no photography. And depending on the quality of light that day, sometimes I'll make a decision whether I'll bring my camera along, and even what sort of lens I'll use. But using vintage lenses helps me slow down, and I think that's an important part of my art, is to be able to be in the zone, to use these lenses that cause me to take a moment and focus, set the aperture, check the lighting, and that sort of thing. So it's inspired me to explore the creativity through the lens and in the scene and the story I'm telling in front of me. Sometimes when I go out, I can get in the zone using the vintage lenses and the space I'm in and the lighting that day. And that's the artistic side of it, and I'm creating that for me. I'm thinking about the environment, but I'm looking around in the environment thinking, I've seen this 100 times. Where's the unique texture? How is the light falling uniquely today? And how can I capture that with an image? For me, it's challenging to find the time to get in the zone. I'm very driven, and being a commercial graphic designer, I'm all about getting the product done and meeting deadlines and things like that. And it's a little harder for me to make the space to just take one of my cameras and go shooting. If I don't have some other thing that I'm accomplishing at the same time. That's one of the biggest challenges for me. So as a discipline, I've found spaces where I can intentionally do that on a semi-scheduled basis. One of my favorite things is the market that they do in downtown. I'll use that as an excuse to go wander around the back alleys of Grand Junction with one of my cameras and vintage lens, just because there's a lot of people, there's activity, and there's just a space and a vibe that I enjoy. For me, photography is rewarding in two different ways. It's rewarding in the journey of finding the story and finding the image, looking through the camera and framing up the shot, looking how the lighting is, and trying to see what the story is in front of me that I might be missing, and then capturing that, taking that picture, and then the second half is loading it in the Lightroom, looking at it on my computer and going, yeah, that picture is what was in my mind's eye when I took it. That's really rewarding to me. And it falls into that artistic category where I like it. I hope maybe other people will like it, but what matters is, as an artist, I enjoy that picture. I see the story, I see the humor, I see the creativity, or I see the texture. That's what I think is an important part of my creating the art and distinguishing it from my commercial photography. I've had the opportunity to do a couple of presentations. The first one was called Demystifying Digital Photography, where I really went into a lot of the technical aspects of photography so people could get into digital photography with an educated mindset and not be overwhelmed by all the technology. So my goal was to just have people be comfortable with the terms and the types of cameras and that sort of thing so that they can lean that way and hopefully get into photography. The other 2 classes I did were for teens, and they were called Sticker My Picture. One of my favorite things about that class was seeing them light up like, I'm gonna get to hold a real camera, and then see their creativity in finding textures around the room. I was really, really impressed. And then they would bring the cameras back, we'd download the pictures to an iPad, and they would put borders on the pictures and their name or something. We actually talked about the type of textures they were capturing. I would compliment them. In all cases, there was some very creative stuff. And then they would print that out. My hope also is that people will slow down and see textures and see interesting things in the world around them, whether they capture them with the camera or not. If they see them in their mind's eye, just creating an awareness of some of the beautiful things that are all around us. I mean, we have, the monument and the Grand Mesa and Garfield. We've got beauty all around us like that. But sometimes it's right down at your feet, or it's right over there at that building that you may have walked by 100 times. There may be a beautiful texture. Maybe the light's falling on it just right this afternoon. I want people to have an awareness of that, just to experience the beauty.